So calling the meeting to order at 5 PM on July 7th. Members in attendance, I have Melissa Phillips, our newest member. Thank you very much for joining our committee.
Thank you.
I have Cecil Newcomb, who's finally been officially ordained as a member. I'm hoping that Andrew Delory is out in the ether world, will be joining us from California. In absence is Dave Lai, and John Fuller is now technically off of our committee, but he is an associate member, and he is joining us in the audience for any kind of communications that or discussions that we will have. I know that Tom Blute will be joining us, hopefully shortly. Michael Herman is at another meeting, which won't let out until, I think he said it started at 4:30, so he said he would be here as soon as he's done from that meeting, and then he will join us. When Tom gets here, I'm going to move the agenda items because he's got a short window to stay with us tonight, and he's got to go somewhere else. So I will start, here he comes now. So I will, and also now in attendance is Tom Blute from Crosby Monument. So I will start off first with any public comment, public speak, if there's anyone out there that would like to speak or in the ether world.
No hands raised.
Okay, no hands raised, no public speak. Okay, and as I said before, and I will do it again, just real quick, just to stay with the agenda item. New member introduction, we have Melissa Phillips with us and Cecil Newcomb, our newest members. Peggy, is Andrew out there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, we can't see you, though.
Yeah, I can't even see myself, but
Oh.
Maybe Peggy can help me out here.
All right, well, we'll take a second.
Unfortunately, it's on your end, Andrew. There's nothing I
Yeah.
can do from here. Sorry.
Oh, thanks, Peggy. I'll keep trying.
Okay, so knowing that Tom Blute has a commitment a little bit later, I'm going to move the agenda items around a little bit. Andrew has requested a revision to the agenda tonight to have a reconsideration vote on item number 5, which was brought up at the last Veterans Committee meeting. It was the discussion on the material, the Vietnam Memorial and the material. Now, the monument design itself is not in question. What has happened, and I will give a little bit of backstory. On June 6th, we had a rededication of the World War II monument at Veterans Park, which included the original family members that made the donation. What was the name, Brian?
That was Nancy Johnson.
Nancy Johnson. Neil, yeah. So she was there to cut the ribbon at the World War II Memorial for rededication. And at that rededication, we had the park gussied up, and we had on display the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. There you are. Can you see us, Andrew?
Yes. Hello. Congratulations, Cecil and
Melissa.
Melissa. Welcome aboard.
So at that rededication, apparently some members of the audience, other Vietnam veterans, made mention that they liked the look of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial that was on display that Andrew had brought forward, along with the artist, Joy.
Dan Joy
Dan Joy. Dan Joy
Yes,
had
he
drawn the
created the scale model and
created
donated
the
it
scale
to
model
us.
up, and I will bring that up on the screen so everybody can see it. So I know one of our members wasn't at that last meeting. Peggy, do you know what the password is?
It should be on there. I think it starts with an N. I think it's Nauset.
Oh, yeah.
Find your crook, they know what it is.
Okay, at the rededication, not sure why it's asking me to have an app to open the picture. Peggy, it keeps asking me to use an app to open the picture.
Click on photos. Do that.
Sorry, it's on the computer.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry,
You good?
I'm computer illiterate.
We can pick, which one you want to open?
Um,
This one?
Pull that one up.
Let's do photos, always, there you go.
Okay.
Shouldn't have a problem with that.
Thank you. So this was the display, this was the item that was on display during the rededication of the park. And it was very well received. Everyone liked the look. Everyone understood that while that design was the look, or was the plan, there was, I thought I had, there it is. This is the drawing that Tom Blute had given us in regards to how it has to sit on an additional piece of stone to make sure that the actual memorial itself remains perfectly level, because the poured concrete foundation that is there is not perfectly level. So this additional piece underneath will allow the Vietnam Veterans Memorial to be perfectly level. So, in short, with the rededication, there was a request as to whether or not that color could be discussed again. So I know that at that last meeting, on that agenda, there was a motion by Andrew Delory to go with the bar granite. It was seconded by John Fuller. Was a unanimous vote from all of us, but now this is where we come full circle. Now we are going to revisit not the design of the monument, but the actual material that it is built with. So we went with the original bar granite, which is the light gray, which I will show everyone. I'm going to be doing a lot of bouncing around here. This is the bar granite. This is the benches that are in the park. It's the same material. Am I pronouncing it correct, bar or barry?
You never have from day one, but that's all right. We all.
Well, we'll
It's Barry.
Barry. All right, we'll call it Barry.
Vermont, but that's all right.
Yeah, I don't.
Don't question.
We'll, and then we showed it in different configurations. That was in bright sun. This would be a slightly shaded area with the lettering so everybody could see it better. And with the sun angled on it. So again, the lettering and everything, it looks nice and dark, it's easy to read. So if we do a reconsideration for the material, it's going to be the jet black,
A honed black granite, yeah.
honed black granite, which is, the honing gives it a light gray look. The difference between the two and what our committee is going to have to decide is, do we want to have the slightly lighter gray Barry granite with black lettering, because it comes out black, or do we want to go with the darker gray, where the lettering will be of a whiter color? It's still a gray, but it's just a lighter gray.
Yeah.
So that's where we stand, but before we go any further, I need to make a motion to reconsider that item, that agenda item number 5 from the last meeting, before we can take a motion to start another vote to reconsider the material. So I will start and I will make a can I make the motion? Yeah, I'm gonna make the motion, and I should know this by now.
Excuse
gonna
me,
make-
Kevin, is there any room for discussion?
We're gonna discuss, we have to move the, we have to
Thank you.
We have to reconsider the motion from the last meeting, to reconsider the material, make a vote, and then we'll have a discussion. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Second, and then you have the discussion.
Putting the motion.
You have the motion and the second, then you can discuss.
Yeah, I know, I hadn't gotten to that yet. I got a lot of writing to do here. Okay, so the motion to reconsider item number 5 from the last meeting has been made, seconded by, or do I have a second?
Cecil Newcomb.
Okay, Cecil Newcomb, seconded. All those in favor of reconsidering item number 5 from the last meet?
Discuss it first.
Oh, it's, yeah. Well, okay, so we'll have a discussion first. Should we, or what will the discussion be in regards to reconsidering this motion? Does everyone think that this is an item that we should be reconsidering, going from the Barry granite to the honed gray, or should we stay with the original agenda item, from item number 5? How does everybody feel? I'm not a veteran, so I am going to allow my veterans to speak up. You've
Thank
spoken
you.
to other veterans, so,
Well, originally, didn't you tell us that the dock had to be imported? And it would take a while, and there's issues whether, if it gets shipped, then you have to wait months more to get a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Barry granite is from Barry, Vermont, hence the name Barry.
And that's Barry granite?
Nope, that right there is not. That right there is, it's an India black granite that's been honed and not polished. It's very dense. It doesn't have a lot of grain to it, so when you hone it, it almost looks like a deep gray slate. The second option we discussed, well, the third, I should say. So you had Barry granite, you had the honed black, and then we had another domestic black. It was a mist black out of Pennsylvania, Penn Mist Black. And that was the third option, which is a dark polished black granite with very faint light white streaks going through it. So at your last meeting, you narrowed it down to the two, and then a motion was made for the Barry granite, and that's how that came to be. So that's it. Now, the question becomes, like you just pointed out, do we go with the domestic granite because it's closer, it's local, it comes from Vermont, we can get it a little quicker? And in early June, that was a discussion item, and it makes sense. But true to this project, you know, here we are, middle of July, we're still not really sure. So at this point, it almost doesn't matter what you choose, because the odds are pretty good it's going in next spring anyway. I mean, even if you said, okay, let's go ahead with the Barry granite, you know, it's gonna take me 4 or 5 months, and what does that bring us? Back to December, and if we remember last year, just after Thanksgiving, the weather turned. The 2 years prior, no, it was beautiful. We were still working and pouring cement in January. So I'm just not able to promise you, you know, that it'll be done before Christmas or something, because we keep pushing this along. So my only comment would be, don't let time be a factor on this particular project. We're working along on the Korea. We're just finalizing the bronze plaque itself, and we know the granite's here. We've approved all the lettering, so that one is moving along. But you know, I guess that's my 2 cents. Is get what you want at this point. We've been pulling this along, so
hold on,
that's all. I just
Hold
want
on.
to put that out there.
hold on. Okay.
You mentioned the price difference?
Excuse me, point of order. The question on the table is to whether you want to reopen the discussion. It's not about discussing the monument yet. I do disagree with what Tom said about the time, but that's a different discussion if you vote to reopen the discussion. So if you're gonna have a discussion about the question, then I
Well,
would say, I hope
well, I
you do
think
not
we-
change your mind.
No, no.
Leave it the way it is.
What we are discussing is whether or not there's enough of an option here to reconsider. And the reason why we're reconsidering is because of the ideas of what Tom is bringing forward. Timeliness and where the material's coming from.
Cost.
So,
We've-
Brian, let me finish. So the issue here is whether or not the discussion is warranted to bring this forward to discuss to change the material. Now, the material itself, as Tom has indicated, at this point, time is not an issue. So,
Yes, it
so now,
Okay, I'm talking about the basic question you're asking, is should we open it for a discussion, not discussing the monument or the granite or the cost or the time itself.
okay, I understand what you're saying, Brian, but the reason for the rediscussion is to talk about whether or not we want to go with the one or the other different colors, okay? So we're not discussing, we're not voting on the material, we're just talking why we're bringing this project up, okay? So, and Cecil asked a question, and Tom was answering it. Cecil asked a question, why was one, is one better, that's all that was discussed, okay? Okay, glad you joined our committee? Okay, so so that was one of the issues that came up before. The Barry granite was from Vermont, the jet black India would need to be transported or imported, which would be more of a longer issue. So having that in mind, is that agenda item to reconsider, should we reconsider at this point? I'm not saying we reconsider to pick one over the other. Let's just bring the whole question back up. We're not discussing the design. We've picked out the design. Now it's going to come down to what the material will be made of. So, any further discussion? Does anyone have anything to oppose bringing the question forward? I don't. I think it's worth it to discuss it in any event. Andrew, do you have anything you'd like to add in regards to bringing the question forward?
No objection. I appreciate that this is being reconsidered.
Okay,
And
having that in
I will
mind.
comment later about that.
Okay, having that in mind, so the motion now is to reconsider agenda item number 5 from the last meeting, and it's been seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye by roll call. Cecil Newcomb?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kevin Higgins, aye. Andrew Delory?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now, that's passed, so now we go back to the original item that came forward on the last meeting, which was July 7th.
This is July 7th.
I'm sorry. The original item from, stand by,
June 30th?
May 26th.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here we are.
So from the May 26th meeting, so we're bringing this back forward. We are not discussing the motion, or the item that at that time was the discussion on the Vietnam Memorial concept with Tom Blute. Now, we're not discussing the concept. We've agreed on the concept. Now it's the material. So now we're back to an additional motion at this point. I will make a motion to reconsider or to reconsider the material that would be used for the, hold on, I'm talking and writing at the same time. Material, which will be used for the memorial that has been presented by Tom Blute. And yeah, the motion is to reconsider the material for the Vietnam. Okay. Can I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, now, let's have a discussion. I think what it comes down to, I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I'll probably kind of take over the comment section on this thing for the discussion. You've got a light gray with dark lettering, a dark gray with light lettering. What does the committee like better? And I can pull this up so everybody can make a decision on their own. Now, it's gonna be kind of hard because we gotta try to figure out by looking at the I'll have to do this again. Oh, so that is the honed gray with light lettering. And then we have the berry granite with the dark lettering. So it's really comes down to that. And I guess the only question I would have, and if Tom could, if there's rain, does this lettering, does it keep a lighter color? Is it easy to read? That would, I know.
On either, on any surface that you use, once you get it wet, it darkens. Okay, so that's no matter what, if you use the gray granite or if you use this. So it's just the natural coloring of the stone. Anything you use, when it's wet, it darkens.
Now, the one thing I did notice, because I went out to the park and I walked around a little bit, this is the World War II monument, and I know these letters are they're a little hard to read at the bottom. Is that just due to the size of the lettering itself, or is it just because the stone hadn't been
Yeah,
maintained?
the size of the letter, it's a condensed letter, so it's very thin. It's a Roman font, so you do have serifs, you have thin lines, thick lines, and it was just done, such a long time ago. But the thing to remember is it's still legible. I mean, that's what you have to remember, even as things get very old. I mean, they can be cleaned. Stones this age, though, you can't highlight or you can't darken the letter. So usually as they age a little bit, they kind of take on their own shadowing on the inside of the letter, and that helps it stand out, but mostly when it's dry, not when there's moisture or something like that. So I did clean this monument last November or last October, and it was much more legible. But over time, and the depth of the letter and how it shadows itself, it all plays a role.
Okay. Is there any way to make the berry granite less acceptable to like that?
No,
fungus
this
or anything
is
that polishes it all?
Cape Cod. This is Cape Cod. You can't. There's nothing you can do. When it comes to monuments, the more polish there is, the less lichen, the less moss. It's that simple. So,
Okay.
it's the honed granite is just it's not fully polished either. So that's not to say that that's going to be much better. When that gets wet, the letters will darken and it'll all kind of appear. The things that we tried to do when we designed the berry granite one that you all voted on was we're going to polish the top, we're going to polish the back, we're going to polish the ends, we're going to polish the base. So we're going to minimize the amount of lichen and moss that will gather over time around the whole monument. But once you letter it, you're just opening up pores, and that's really what happens. So there will be some degree of polish if you stick with the berry granite. So there will be some contrast. It won't be like the World War II, which is strictly no polish.
So if you just stay here for a second. Does anyone in the committee have any questions of Tom in regards to the materials?
Tom,
Yeah.
the polish would also apply to the polishing of the sides and the back that you described would also be applied to the honed black
Well,
stone.
the honed black would have to remain constant. That would be honed all around.
Yeah,
You wouldn't say polish the back of it because of a deep black luster will come out, and that's what you all decided you didn't want, I believe.
Right.
So,
that's correct.
yeah, so you would just hone the whole thing. And again, that would reduce pores too, just like, not as well as polishing the gray granite, but it would reduce the porousness on the stone.
So the benches as they stand are polished top and
Yes.
sides? Is that correct?
No, just a polished top.
Yeah, I see.
The lettering is a steeled finish, it's smooth. That's what the front of this would be.
Thank you.
John, do you have anything you'd like to? Okay.
May I, Kevin, may I jump in and make a comment?
That's what we're here for.
Thank you. First of all, I think, with some apologies, with hindsight, our vote in May, the May meeting was premature, without the advantage of all the committee members seeing the scale model in context at the World War II dedication. At the event, the chair and I shared some recognition, a kind of a revelation on site that the Vietnam Memorial would definitely be more outstanding. I believe that it will be more distinguished and memorable with the dark gray granite.
Well, and as you and I discussed at the park, having that memorial honed gray, the Korean War memorial being of the India red, the World War I monument being the pink, what was it, the pink granite from Tennessee or Rhode Island?
Yeah, Westerly, yeah.
Westerly. Then we have the Civil War rock, and then we've got the berry granite for the benches, and the berry granite, I think, is also on the borders at each of the, this is berry granite too, is,
It's a gray granite. It's
Okay.
a New Hampshire granite. It's a landscape granite, but yes, it's gray granite.
so I think having that in mind, again, looking at the different colors, the different materials, and looking at the engraving, the berry granite with the engraving, it looks dark, more traditional, typical, like a book that you read. It's got white pages, black lettering, easy on the eyes, easy to read. And then the honed gray would be black with the white lettering. So I think the bottom line is we need to make a decision as to which is better. Do we like the berry granite with the dark lettering, or do we like the honed gray with the light lettering? So I think that's basically what our vote will come down to.
Question for Tom, would there be more contrast in the, based on the photo that Kevin just displayed, would there be more contrast between the stone and the lettering than we're seeing? Or is that, would you
No,
consider that?
Not really. The only thing I can say is this one has been lying flat on the ground for
Right,
4 years now.
yeah, so
Through
it's been more
seasons,
weathered.
and I didn't, let's put it this way, I didn't clean it or anything prior to showing you the picture or showing you the actual stone, so,
Right,
no, I mean, it ages, that's for sure. I mean, it's like everything else, but it's been lying vertical.
right. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I think that, easy to read is a good thing, either way. Whether it's light on dark or dark on light.
Yeah.
Is it
But
typical,
Go ahead.
is it typical for this granite to grow lichen like it's already showing here in less than 20 years?
Yeah, well, on the Cape it is. Like if you take softer granites, if you take the rose tones and stuff, and you have like a rock border to them, the lichens and the moss will start affixing to that in 2 or 3 years. And then it becomes the smooth finish, and then it becomes the honed and then polished. So, if you were to say our biggest concern is what's gonna hold up the best, then it would be all black polished. There's metals in black, it's less porous, but for what you're doing, there's not going to be a huge difference between the two. I mean, the honed, it feels a lot smoother, so it has a little bit more protection, but I don't, and the other thing is where it's in this particular park and the intention that it will get going on further, I think it'll be cleaned every other year, I mean, every 2 or 3 years. So that, I don't think that becomes an issue.
No, I can agree with that. I think spick and span. It's not like a cemetery marker that only gets visited by family once a year. This is gonna be an ongoing, and I'm sure the highway, or DPW parks will maintain the memorials pretty well, as they've had already, so.
So the contrasting of the lettering, I think you're saying with the honed black and the white, it doesn't stand out. There's not as much contrast as the berry granite, right? That's very big lettering. What's gonna happen when we have, our monument's gonna have lettering, what, this big? Is that
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be a
gonna be.
problem for being able to read it? I mean, that's easy because it's big. Just a question.
No, it's a really good question. It's a really good question. Certainly, dark on light is much easier. It's much more legible. There's no doubt. Light on dark, not as legible,
I just
especially
hate to
over
see
time.
You get this monument, all of a sudden we can't read it.
No, I
names,
understand.
so-
It's a good question. It's a very good question. And that's,
And I think, Tom, also, I don't know if you could discuss the cost difference. I mean, I don't wanna base things on cost, but it is gonna take more time to raise funds that the nonprofit can commit to ordering the monument. And we don't have enough money to cover the Korea and the Vietnam, so just, I don't know if you haven't told the committee the price difference.
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to answer everybody's questions here. I'm in
No,
a tight
I'm
spot.
not
Every time I come
faulting
to a
you.
meeting, I say, so, but that is a fair question, because the two committees are meant to be separate but work together, and I greatly appreciate that. And there is a cost difference now, and mainly because we're dealing with tariffs, and the tariffs are not cheap. And because of that, over the last 2 years, we've had 3 price increases and 2 tariffs. So what this would have been a couple of years ago versus what it is now, the dark granite is considerably more expensive.
Can I just ask, where is the dark granite coming from?
India.
India. And what happens if it breaks or cracks on the way
Well,
here?
that's my problem.
No,
that-
seriously.
I get, I 100% understand
If
it.
going to Vermont is a lot easier.
I understand what you're saying and the direction you're going, so,
Okay.
but I mean,
No, I'm just.
I
pointing
never
it out,
think
that's
about
all.
that.
All right, well,
No, I
Of
do,
course
it's a
I
good,
do.
it's a good
just
question.
it would happen
I
to
just don't
me.
need anything else to worry about at night, so thank you, but no, I trust that all goes well, the way it's packed and shit, but again,
All
I
right.
just,
Just,
I'll sit here.
Well, I think our committee is gonna make a decision in regards to which material to use. Now, the India black will be, as Tom indicated, a little bit higher cost-wise. As such, that will move everything back a little, whereas the 501c3 will probably have to work with our committee and try to fundraise to try to get the difference if we choose that. Whereas the berry granite is here, well, it's a little closer and we don't have to deal with tariffs. As I've said from the beginning, and John has, I believe, agreed with me, we're making a decision now for something that's gonna be 100 years down the road. We
Right.
don't want somebody 50 years from now, 100 years from now, saying, why did they go with that material when it isn't holding up? So, I think it's gonna come down to legibility. I would love uniqueness, but I don't know if uniqueness is enough to change the material itself for a higher cost. And I think that the original design with the berry granite, with the dark lettering, personally, I think it's a little easier to read. The letters won't be as small as on the World War II, if I remember correctly, when we were talking, the number of names on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is considerably less than what's on the World War II. I think those letters on the World War II are 3/4 inch high, or maybe less, 1/2 inch,
5/8 maybe?
5/8. So I think,
I'm not exactly, I don't recall precisely.
right. Brian?
Thank you. Just to clarify something, but then just mention a couple things.
Yeah, can you come up to the microphone?
Right, sure.
That one or that one, doesn't matter.
Thank you. A couple of comments. Well, first of all, in the beginning of your discussion, I just expressed the opinion that the committee voted, discussed it, and it would have been nice to just leave it the way it is. That was my preference, that was my point before. But the discussion is open, so I'll revisit some things too that I would add. Because I would first, in looking at the contrast, remember there are now 144 names that we have verified from DD 214s that will go in this monument, which is almost twice as many as there were when we had this discussion a year ago. So, cost aside for a moment, because that has never been our 501's point or major point for anything that we've done here. And even now in this discussion, cost is not the only factor. One of my points, though, is the readability of this. So I do want to, just make sure that with 144 names that you're going to see them. And so the black on lighter color versus the Barry seems easier to read in the Barry. And I thought that was the case. And I still have concern about this here. The other one was, we took Andrew's design that was done like over a year ago. We took it into the park, we took it into the ball fields, and we had discussions with people. So June 6th was a nice event, and everybody will have their opinion of what color they like better. But we were getting feedback from Vietnam vets, veterans, or even just anyone who wanted to buy bricks at that time. And it wasn't exclusive, but we did get a lot of comments that black was a little too, I don't know if morbid is the right word, or evoked more death than they were prepared to accept for a monument that looked black in the design. And so if that's changed, that's obviously part of your discussion. But those are comments that we got. That doesn't mean people wanted pink, green, or purple, but it was a comment. And so I just leave it at that. As to, I do want to talk about timing. Tom brought it up. The funds that we've raised to date or feel pretty close to with respect to Vietnam, I mean, the costs have gone up, and we've, this monument, because we've have, like I said, an additional, 144 names, that was not expected. The Hone Granite has a huge differential in price, so it's also time. So the fact is, committing to the Barry Granite Monument, let's say now or next week, is a big difference than it coming from India in 6 months, because that we could either bank on or plan on, and it's much nicer, at least for us to think about. We've been at this for a long time. It'd be nice to have the Vietnam Memorial a lot closer to thinking, wow, this might be able to come into the park at the end, if not Veterans Day, then the end of 2026, instead of saying, well, that's a 2027. Time matters. And so I just kind of leave it at that. The cost, I won't debate dollars at the moment, but yeah, it's a significant difference, but it means we all have to work harder. But I just want to point out those other differences, the legibility, the comments that we got back in our own feedback, and your views of just the time. So, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Tom, I know you're on a time schedule. It's 20 minutes of.
Go ahead. No, let's.
So going back to what I originally talked about as well, one of the things that I wanted to make sure was that once this park is done, it's done. We're not making any changes down the road. Legibility obviously is a big factor. We also understood that when we started this park, there was no money in the budget to do any memorials, and it was always understood that the park is there and ready for memorials as time and money came in. So part of me is a little bit, I don't want to feel pressured as to move forward in regards, I understand timing, I 100% understand timing. I'm a short timer on this committee, I've only got a year left. I'd love to have this in place, and I'd love to have it there before I step down. But I don't want to do it, I don't want to rush it, but I also want to make sure that it's, it's going to be something that people are going to look at and not question, why didn't they do this or why did they do that? So that's my comment in regards to it. Any other committee members want to discuss anything or have any kind of input?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Kevin, I think the timing, I think that we should appreciate that it will be literally set in stone for many generations, and that, as Griff Ryder expressed more than once, let's get it right now so that we don't regret anything later. either way. There's pros and cons to the Barry granite. I think the main risk is that it tends, the Vietnam Memorial will blend into all the rest of the gray stone in the park, whereas the darker, the honed black stone, or effectively the dark gray stone, will be more distinguished and outstanding and even more memorable.
Fair enough, but then the alternate argument could be made, if you're standing and looking at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, you're not looking at the other memorials either. So the benches are
Yes.
behind you, the World War II is behind you, and
Right.
so it's not like they're gonna be right next to each other.
If I just might
Yes.
say one thing?
Good point.
Is, you know, since your last meeting too, we've dedicated the Indigenous Monument. So I guess my question would be, have you all seen it? And do you feel like that blends in too much with everything that's gray there or not? You barely, you wouldn't notice it.
Right.
So, that's just a point I wanted to make. That's Barry granite, combination of polished, unpolished. You see how the lettering stands out on that, and that's just been made, so, just to bring that up.
Yep, no, that's a good point. I don't remember looking at that, thinking to myself that it matched any of the other memorials either, so fair enough. It's a very good point. All right, I think the way to move forward at this point, is there any more discussion? Okay, I think the way we should move forward at this point is to, the motion is to reconsider, that's passed the discussion. So now I'll need a motion for the material, correct? Is that how I should move forward? Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We've had the discussion, so the discussion's been made, we've discussed it. All those in favor of the reconsideration of the memorial of the material signify by saying aye. Cecil Newcomb?
Before I do have a question.
Yes.
It's gone. This is one of my issues. I didn't realize that we'd already made a decision on the,
We went with the Barry granite, but then after the rededication, a couple of members, Vietnam veterans, asked if that was the memorial that was on display, is that going to be the color, because they liked it. So, and the discussion was, it was unique from the other memorials, so is there a chance that we?
design that was.
Yeah, the design, it's gonna be that design, it's just the material that it's being made.
Okay.
So this is just to reconsider, there's gonna be another motion as to what we pick, but,
Aye.
and Melissa?
Aye.
Kevin Higgins, aye. Andrew Delory?
Aye.
Okay. I am going to make a motion that we stay the course and stay with the Barry granite and the dark colored lettering, as discussed at that meeting on May 26th. So the motion is to stay with Barry granite, dark lettering, and moving forward. So that's the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, so again, discussion, we probably discussed it already. It's really going to come down to the Barry granite with the light. And if this motion passes, we won't have to have a second motion for the honed gray. But if it doesn't pass, we'll move on to the next motion. All those in favor of the Barry granite with dark lettering signify by saying aye. Cecil Newcomb?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Kevin Higgins? Aye. Andrew Delory?
This is difficult. I'm going to say nay.
Okay, no, that's fine. The majority has the vote to stay with the Barry granite and the dark lettering. I'm sure that we will have discussions on how we can kind of keep it unique, but again, we can discuss that as we move forward down the road. John? The floor recognizes our associate member, John Fuller.
I appreciate all the discussion on it, but the bottom line is the names on the monuments, not the monuments themselves. We have distinguished the monuments from each other, which I think will suffice. So the dark lettering that you voted on is fine. It's the names that count, not the monument.
100%. And again, I very easily could have gone either way. I just am looking for longevity and making sure, as John indicated, the names are legible. 350 years from now, they're going to see Cecil Newcomb's name on it, they're going to see John Fuller's name on it, they're going to see Andrew Delorey's name on it. That's what matters most to our committee, and that's why our committee exists. So with that being said, I will close that portion of the agenda, of the article on the agenda, and we will move on to the next. Michael, I didn't know if you would like to discuss, I know that there was, after the Indigenous Memorial presentation, there was some discussion about QR codes and things. I know it's not on the agenda, but could you bring us up, our committee up to speed on that? Because it will probably have to be an agenda item on our next meeting.
Hi, Michael Harmon. Yeah, to your question, we did discuss QR codes. I believe this committee has discussed in the past multiple times about when the monuments are complete, we would put QR codes in there, and you guys would work together and decide what information was going to be on those QR codes to give more explanation to individual monument. And that's kind of where we are right now.
That's perfect. Now, I'm glad you did stay, just so because I know that you had been overseas and saw memorials in another park where they use QR codes. Is there an organization that we could communicate with?
It's very easy to do.
Okay.
Very easy.
Because I think as our committee moves forward to discuss that, obviously the town is going to have to give us the final buzz, because we don't want to, we're not doing this a unilateral decision that we're putting QR codes. The town obviously is on board.
It's a beautiful way to explain, especially the indigenous, when people want to know, what does this color mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And then going on, especially the lectern and the talk about the British invasion. And I had brought it up earlier. I mean, especially if you can get a historian in that deep Cape Cod voice to describe certain things, it would be incredible. And it becomes more of an interactive park as opposed to just reading names. There's more behind it, but the names, as John said and stressed, that's the most important part. But it's also nice to have an interactive part where you can learn a little bit more. So it's an inexpensive way to make it an interactive park, and I think that's a smart idea. That's why I brought it to the table. But now that you're seeing things completed, then it's great. It's a great idea.
I mean, we have QR codes around town,
Sure.
and those are around the world. Yeah, it depending on whether you're talking about actually having written information that you want the QR code to go to, and back to our website, there are places that do verbal and spoken word. That's very cool, but it's a whole different thing. And then you're gonna have to figure out, you're gonna have to come up with the script and the recordings and all those type of different things, and there's gonna be cost associated with that. So we just have to understand what you guys thinking it's gonna be.
Right.
I know the historical commission, Bruce Taub, they're looking at what the, history is and coming up with that information. And then you guys will review it. And I had spoken to Gail, who has the contact with the artist, Robert Peters, and at least coming up with a script. Whether that script is going to be written out, I'm sure it will be, but whether it's going to be spoken or not, you guys will have to discuss that and discuss the cost involved and the logistics involved in that. Because if we're going to do it, we want to make sure we do it right. And so.
Perfect.
And then if you're going to want one at the Vietnam Memorial, are you going to want one at the Korean? Are you going to want one for World War II? Do you want spoken word there? Do you not? We kind of want to remain consistent.
There was, and this isn't an item to discuss now, but obviously word of mouth has gotten out there in regards to the QR codes and recording. And someone has come to me and said it would be fabulous if we could get a Korean War veteran to record something and actually have that part of the QR code. Something in regards to what they dealt with. And, I don't know I have no idea, is there a time limit on these QRs? Does it, it's all new to me, but I thought it would be rather an interesting component to add a little third dimension to
No, I
each of
think-
the memorials.
I think you want to put it on a future agenda item, and it's not immediately, it has to be put up. It can be put up at any time. We discussed they wouldn't be part of the actual memorial, because right now in technology, QR codes are important, but in 3 to 5 years, QR codes may be obsolete, and we don't want them put onto memorials. There'll be a new way of doing it. You won't even need a QR code. You'll just walk by something, which is also the technology now,
s-
geofencing, and that you don't need, so.
Are you saying my floppy disks aren't?
Yeah. Everything in technology is going to go the way of the record, tape player, et cetera. So
Perfect. Now I feel old.
I think, Brian,
I mean.
Yeah, you should
I know
talk,
we're-
Kevin.
I mean, we've had success using QR codes, and I've talked to Tom about this, but we'd be happy to work with you on this, because we've researched, using this with the veterans, and quite frankly, we've had people ask us, can we do a QR code to tell the Battle of Rock Harbor story, that's.
Right.
And you can do bios on the veterans, and.
Sure.
put them in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot
Well-
that we can do.
Yeah, well, we won't beleaguer this much, but we'll definitely make it a future agenda item and come up with some ideas and work with the town in regards to, the best angle of attack, so to speak.
yeah, I would also include, of course, the Historical Commission.
Yeah.
Because, as Brian said, there's, Battle of Rock Harbor. We have all that information already done.
Right.
On our website. I'd hate to have to recreate the wheel here, where the QR code would just link right to the information on our website, and it would be consistent messaging.
I could
It
see-
wouldn't be two different stories, maybe. That's important also, too.
I could see the QR code down at Rock Harbor with the piece that was put out by the historical that covers the whole
Yeah.
battle of Rock Harbor. Just have that on that QR.
A QR code is just a link. It's
exactly.
just a link to take you to something directly, instead of going to the town website and then going to the Historic Commission, and then going to the folder, and then going to another folder. It will take you right there immediately. But somebody's got to house the information. So if it is spoken word, the auto files have to be housed on our website. If it is written text, it has to be housed on our website.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. The only items left on the agenda are really to talk with the 501c3 about some upcoming events that may be on the horizon. And just to update the group on the Indigenous Memorial itself, I believe it was very well received. I heard very positive press. I think that with my ear to the ground, I've seen that it's kind of gone national. There's been some talk about some information that's been shared that other indigenous people have said that's remarkable that this was identified and recognized in the park. So I've heard some very positive things from that, so I'm thrilled. Again, I don't want to tie you up, Tom. We're really just going to be discussing some of the 501c3 stuff, but if you want to stick around, great. We'd love to have your presence, but I don't want you to.
No, I'm good, as long as you have no more questions and everybody's good.
I think we are good.
All right, good, thanks.
Thank you, Tom. Greatly appreciate all the help you've given us over the over the many years. Okay, Brian, did you was there you wanted to have a discussion in regards to upcoming fundraisers that you needed some assistance from us, or has that already come and gone with the July 4th?
Oh, well, the program that we had on June 6th was very successful in the park, and then.
Actually, could you grab a microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not the best walking ability. Yeah, we had, the June 6th event we had was very successful. I thought doing the rededication of the World War II on D-Day, that I thought worked out really well. I think
Yeah.
people were very happy with that. We did something in the evening, just kind of as a thank you for sponsors, donors, and, it was a good tie-in to D-Day to do that, and June 6th. We'd love to do something like that again. As we think about that, we'll try to plan something for the fall. Usually as we get closer to Veterans Day, we'll think about that. I think that in terms of just doing some additional fundraisers, because summertime, the population of where we are now is as high as it ever will be in the summertime. So we're gonna think about doing some tie-ins either with some restaurants. I know we've talked about that in the past, to try to move that along. Have some other events that I think might tie into the Korea Memorial that's in production. And, you know, I know Tom just left, but that's well underway. It'll be at a stage where those names will be engraved pretty soon. As far as timing to put that in the park, we got to talk about that, because I'm hoping it to be as soon as possible. But certainly, I'm hoping that's an event leading to Veterans Day, which we can also use and, you know, not just market that to hopefully close out Vietnam and get that ordered. And that's something that we'll discuss too, to kind of bring that forward and use the summer to have some events and tie-ins. So nothing formal yet, but we'll get there.
There's two things that I would like to recommend, and we will work with the 501c3 in whatever capacity necessary, but I think we're seriously missing the boat when it comes to shirts, sweatshirts, something to sell, to possibly help gain some money. I've already spoken to Dave Clark, just to see. Dave Clark owns, it used to be Windscreens, now it's Nauset Screen Printing. He is a Gulf War veteran, Marine. He is more than willing to work with our committees in regards to the design and implementation of some form of a shirt that would say something along the line, have a picture of the park on the back with an American flag, and it just says Veterans Memorial Park, and, you know, something on the front. And he talked to us about cost, and, you know, it's the old saying, you have to spend money to make money. So it might be worth it, especially with this year coming up. This is the 250th. I think Veterans Day, we really got to ramp it up, because this is going to be, we're not going to get another 250, and I'm not going to be around for the 500th. You guys might be, but I'm not. So it would be, I think it would be very beneficial if we really kind of, you know, let's utilize the year and the park and everything coming together. I mean, the park being complete enough at this point for us to have the 250th is huge. So let's ride that wave, so to speak, and let's see if we can get this pushed to get it through the end zone.
Well, I agree. And I think knowing that the Korea Mine is going to get installed in the committee will be another opportunity. But yeah, FYI, not to take your time, but I would say some of the best publicity and the best PR is what comes back in comments in the park. So I get them, I hear them, I try to pass them on to everyone, but it was as a team effort for what went on here. Everyone loves the park. I mean, I get fantastic comments. It's emotional. It's, you know, it's celebratory at the same time. It's a memory for so many people who come to that park. 4th of July, we worked in the park that day. We watched you and your car go by and everyone else, but we
yeah.
worked the park with our shirts. But nevertheless, those flags that went around was a great, the 11 flags, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but that was great, because we watched people pose, take pictures. I mean, you can't be in that park for any occasion or any time and find that people just bring their families in, take pictures, stoop down, take pictures. And so all those things are great PR. There's nothing like having the park there.
Right.
But, and as opposed to last year having a construction fence around it. So there's a nice story to tell here. So.
I know I've been, and I am remiss only because of timing and everything going on, but I always say nobody should do anything unilaterally, but I did, and I'll take full culpability for it. After Memorial Day, I had put the 11 flags that represent the 11 Orleans veterans that had died in past conflicts, and I put in some semi-permanent PVC pipe behind the sitting wall to hold the 11 flags. So if we ever have an event down there, we don't have to go in there and replant those flags. There's PVC pipe there. I have caps on it to keep stuff from falling inside. Rich Waldo was there. He gave me the blessing to go ahead and do it in the town park. If it's real well received, we may put concrete down to hold them in place. I only hesitated in doing that to begin with because, God forbid, we get a 12th Orleans veteran that dies in a conflict. Right now, the way it is now, I can move it, I can configure it, I can move the 11 flags closer together, so if we have to add a flag down the road, setting it in concrete may not be the best option. But I did do that, so if anybody saw that, and that there, I will agree, I saw quite a few Facebook posts where people were posing with those American flags sitting on the seated wall. So it was kind of nice to see, and that being said, let's work together. We come up with some ideas, bring it to our committee, we can vote on it to, moving forward in regards to, if we do shirts or anything along those lines. I will set the agenda for the July 28th meeting. Is that right? Yeah, July 28th. Boy, where's the summer going? I'm sorry, John?
Just on your fundraising, if you're not doing it already, you should get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce for the First Friday events.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, have a table out there, and I think you'll get some good reception to that. But talk to the director of the chamber. She's very supportive of veterans, and I think that might yield some benefit. Thank you.
100%. Thank you, John. All right, with that being said, is there any other member of the committee, anything you'd like to say moving forward? Melissa, again, thank you for joining our committee. Andrew, how's the weather out in
Just grateful.
How's the weather out in California?
It's cool, man. Very cool. Temperature wise. I'm grateful for we have a full committee, and all that you and Tom and the 501c have been doing to move to fill the showcase with a memorable and outstanding monuments. Thank you.
100%. And again, I thank all the committee members for their hard work to get us where we are now, so especially John, been with me all along. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Cecil? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Kevin Higgins, aye. Melissa?
Aye.
And Cecil? Andrew?
Aye.
Okay.